We have had three live action Spider-Man over the last, whatever, 20 years or what have you. And they have all had their ups and downs, and everyone loves or hates some of them. And all people have their opinions on which is the best Spider-Man or which is the strongest and everything else. But the video for today is strictly going to be going along the fact of which Spider-Man, specifically in live action, would have made the best video game. Obviously, we have Insomniac Spider-Man and the Insomniac Spider-Man games, which obviously are amazing. But I'm specifically talking about which of the three live-action Spider-Man that we've had so far would have had a perfect video game that could have gone along with it, that would have been easily the most entertainable, or had the best story and everything else. We're gonna just discuss all three of the Spider-Man and really just give you my opinions on which of the Spider-Man could have the best story, which of them could have the best game, and just have the best content in general. Obviously, we're gonna start out with Toby because he was the first Spider-Man that we have to even be talking about. And when it comes to something along the lines of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man series, his would be quite interesting, honestly. If we just go from everything that we've seen from his entire movies, yes, we have Green Goblin, we have Sandman, we have Venom and things like that. But the fact is, like, Green Goblin obviously dies in like the first Spider-Man movie, and the Venom in that specific entirety of the game was, well, that this Venom in that specific of the movie was honestly not amazing, to be honest. It was something more the lines of irritating and more annoying. I'm not gonna say like, oh yeah, I didn't completely like the Venom, but it was just annoying in all fairness. But if we're just like talking about like taking the events of all three of those movies and putting them into the game, or just putting that entire world into a game format, Toby's would be extremely interesting. One, he's the only Spider-Man with organic webs, so that is fairly cool. So there would be a little difference in the terms of what the web shooters can actually do. Or like there is no web shooters, obviously, so there will be a very big difference in that. And his suit is a little different from obviously everybody else, since they all have different suits, anyways. But the fact is, we would have like people like we would have people like Sandman, we would have Venom, we would have Osborn, we would actually have some of the Spider-Man villains and everything else like that that we wouldn't actually get to see. Doc Ock, which we would obviously have no matter what. But we would have all of these cool aspects of the game, but there is just not a lot that it would really be able to offer. We've seen exactly what the game, like what the storyline would really be, obviously in the movies, and in the game, I don't really know exactly what they would be able to do to have it be where, oh, let's add this extreme wow factor. Yes, we would have probably an amazing game if we had the Green Goblin specifically in there and had any aspects of that, but we don't really know exactly how the story would be able to progress if we had any differing of things going on between those like two things going on. If we're really just going into Andrew's Spider-Man would be really the most interesting in my opinion, specifically because of the fact that there are some more aspects and things that really could be going around. I'm going to get back to talking about Toby's and get back to talking about them all, but I'm just going to really give you guys a bare breakdown of exactly what I specifically think each of the Spider-Man games would really have to offer. So if we're going into Toby, obviously we have everything that we've seen in in all three of the movies. Rhino, we have Harry's Green Goblin, we have Electro, we have the Lizard, we have all of those things. But his honestly would really be one of the most interesting, strictly due to the fact of we could have easily have side stories going around the fact that Andrew's parents in this one are actually spies, and we could actually have history missions talking about figuring out exactly what's going on there. We could have entire storylines due to the fact that they have a better variety of villains in the Amazing Spider-Man series, and we have obviously Gwen Stacy, like the Captain, and everything else like that. We actually have some more aspects to really be diving off into, which the main reason I'm specifically bringing up Gwen Stacy is because I absolutely hate the Mary Jane from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man due to the fact that there's not really any possible way to actively love her or like her in any format due to the fact of, one, the person that she is, the chasing that she is, the person that just literally switches between friends, people, and just is out here just always flipping around. The biggest for the streets Mary Jane that we could ever see, in all fairness. But we have to obviously love Gwen Stacy. We know what happens, and we're not going to really discuss that, but it would still be a very interesting game to be holding to. But in all fairness, that doesn't ever even come close to who I think would have the best Spider-Man game. And that is obviously going to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Obviously, this is the main reason, the only main reason that I say this is due to the fact of, one, the Avengers are actually in this world. We have possible things that could easily be going around of adding more other villains that could be introduced later on. Because obviously, from everything beforehand, like in the Tom's universe, we've only ever seen him dealing with threats that aren't his level, that aren't people around like his actual villains or anything else like that. We've seen him, the main reason that everybody hates on Tom is because of the fact that, oh yeah, he's just basically Iron Man Jr. or whatever BS that people be saying. But now that we've finished No Way Home and we're seeing him actually go into the realm of everything else, we already know that like Kingpin, we know that Daredevil would be a person that's actually coming into like the entirety of the show or whatever, and we would be able to see a lot of different things specifically regarding around of one, having Avengers pop in and having all of these extra amounts of things going around just would be extremely interesting. And first of all, the suits, the customization ability that would be available, the entirety of the fact that depending on where we start off in the timeline, we would be able to create our own suits and have way broad adventures, even though it wouldn't be the normal Spider-Man that we know. Each of the Spider-Men have their own ups and downs when it comes to having their own game, if they ever had it. And obviously, there were some Spider-Man games that came out with the live-action movies, which obviously came out a while back. So you can't really hold them up to par to like Insomniac Spider-Man or everything else like that, to the graphic quality and everything else. But each of the Spider-Man would have their own ups and downs in terms of a game. Specifically, like as I said, Tom would have this amazing storyline that has Avengers and all of these other characters and cameos, but he doesn't have the feel of Spider-Man. He doesn't have the entirety of the regular villains that you would be expecting to see in a Spider-Man game. While Toby has the feel, but it's more the lines of some of the characters you probably wouldn't even like, or there are just some parts of the story that you really wouldn't be able to get into. Spider-Man 2, for instance, or some of the aspects like Spider-Man, like some of the aspects from Spider-Man 3, or like just some of the worst aspects from each of the movies. So the main thing that I'm actually gonna have to say is the person that I honestly feel would make the best Spider-Man for a specific live action to game would have to be Andrews. We all know that people have always been going around like, oh yeah, the like Amazing Spider-Man movies are absolutely horrible, or people just be hating on the Amazing Spider-Man movies. But in all fairness, they usually give the best story. Yes, some of the villains weren't amazing. Yes, some of the stories might not have been up to par or been the exactly best written, but we at least know the fact that we have good villains to be able to introduce. We have good things to be able to see. We have a lot of things that could easily be very well written and very well put into a game that would be extremely interesting. Tom, obviously, missing a lot of the aspects. Toby, some of the aspects aren't the best, but at least in this specific aspect, we have aspects where we can enjoy the game, have good suits, and be able to actively still enjoy the storyline, even having side missions and side things to be able to do. So that's going to be my biggest answer. My main answer specifically to this question. Which of them would make the best game? I honestly believe would be an amazing Spider-Man gameplay with the storyline of Andrew Garfield. Each of them would at least make amazing games, but I think that in all fairness, Andrew's would be the best in total. It would be the best overall. But please tell me what you guys do think, specifically in terms of which one would make the best game in all generalness. Put a comment down below specifically talking about what your reasoning is, and just Comment down below, honestly, what you thought of everything else. But I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.